Hi, my name is Karina and welcome to the Karina Chronicles. Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite recipes because it's time consuming but not in any way difficult. You don't need any skills and it's perfect for the cold winter days. So let's quickly start. A long time ago I actually made a video cooking my favorite cookies, baking my favorite cookies, and it was very popular. So I was like, maybe you like this. I'll try it again with one of my favorite other recipes. This one specifically for winter as the cold days are coming. Today was very cold. It was very pretty but very cold. So I thought this is the perfect time. Also because I had some time to spare, and that's perfect because you need the time for this. No skills, but time. I'm going to show you as of the same as the last time. All the ingredients are translated by Google Translate, so I hope you know what I mean. If you don't, please ask me in the comments. I will try to explain to you. This time it's even more relevant because there are a lot of, well, things in here that are quite typically Dutch. And I don't know if it's as easy to find for you as it is for me, because for me it's just in the supermarket. So let me know if anything is unclear. I will also leave the recipe that I use down below, but that one obviously is also in Dutch. If you translate it, it will probably also be by Google Translate. But never mind. What are we actually going to cook? It is called Zoervleisj. It translates to sour meat, which doesn't sound tasty, but it is. It actually gets cooked not by heat but by acid, but it's really, really tasteful. So bear with me. We're going to try to do this and I hope you will find it as enjoyable as I do. So I'm not going to list you all the ingredients by speech. I will just list down all the ingredients in the description box and go through them when I'm using them. This is not a vegetarian meal. I like vegetarian meals very much. We eat them quite often. I will one time show you one if you prefer that, or if you're interested in any way in vegetarian food. But this one is full of meat. I'm sorry, I know it's not really thoughtful of the climate change, but it's really tasty. So if I eat meat, I want it to be something that I feel like, okay, but for once in a while, this is really worth it. And we're using 1 kilogram of beef rib steak. And the first thing that we're actually doing is cutting this in pieces. It doesn't have to be very small because if everything goes right, all will have fallen apart. So you don't have to cut it in very small pieces. Let me try to do this. So, as I haven't told you yet, this is a recipe from the southern of the Netherlands. I was born there, not raised there, but my parents still love this food very much. And my boyfriend was raised there and he loves it as well. So he provided me with the perfect recipe, and I feel like when I cook this, he will love me forever. So I once in a while do this also just to make things very happy in this house. So I just saw that the last video you saw the onions already. The next thing we were going to do is cut 3 onions. These won't fall apart, but they will turn very soft. So they again don't need to be very small, but not too big this time. So I cut them in half and then make rings out of it. This is, by the way, how the meat looks like. So it's not very small, but also not very big. I think you can even leave it bigger if you want to. So now I'm going to get the onions. So after we've put all of that together in a big pot, we are going to add a few more things. The first thing is 10 bay leaves, and they look like this. Laurierbladeren, it's in Dutch. So we're gonna add 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it was one very small one, so I'm adding another. Then we're going to add 10 cloves. Kruidnagel is what we call them in Dutch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I put way too many on my plate, but okay. And then we're going to add 10 juniper berries, which is a very cute name for something that tastes horrible when you just taste it. Jeneverbessen, they are in Dutch. 3, 6, and 10. And then we add 400 milliliters of vinegar and 400 milliliters of water. Make sure that all the meat is very much under the fluid. Otherwise just add a little bit more, but make sure it's 50-50 water and vinegar. And then you leave it for at least 8 hours. But what I do is I always leave it for the whole night. So what I do is when I cook another dinner, I make this as well, which took me like 10 minutes. And then I can leave it for the whole night. And next day when I want to prepare my meal, I can grab it. So that was actually it. I will show you what comes next after this has rested for 24 hours at least. But you can leave it for 8 hours. But who has like time to do this 8 hour? Well, you can do it in the morning and then cook it in the evening. But 24 hours is more safe. So we've arrived at the next step. You take out the meat, the onions and the leaves, and you put them in the pot and you make them warm. How do you say that? You roast them, kind of. So you make sure the meat is gray after you put it out, that it turns brown and has a nice layer out of it. What you do next is let me show you this. This has been warming up for a while. You put the onions and everything in, and after that you put a little bit of the fluid of this, not everything, and some syrup. I will put the ingredients in the description box again, so you can look up which syrup. And then some herbs. And then you just put it on for like 1.5 hours. And after that you put in this, which is cookies. But weird. Cookies. I need to look up how this is all called in English. I will tell you later. But you put in that. And then it will get another structure, a little bit more dense. And the meat will all fall apart. And then you eat it with fries and with a fresh salad. or with potatoes or with rice, whatever you want. But with fries is the most fun and the most tasteful. And our fresh salad now looks like this: crouton, cucumber, tomatoes, and just plain salad. And a little bit of a dressing with mustard and yogurt. But that is all besides the point. This is what it's all about. And it tastes so good, you have no idea. Make sure if you use the fluid that you don't use all the herbs that are still in there. They are not to be eaten. Also the leaves, they are to get the tastefulness in the meal, but not to eat raw, or they're not raw anymore, but you know what I mean. That doesn't work. So then you know. I will show you the end result and I will tell you how all these things that I just mentioned are called. And then I will eat this meal very happy. Okay, listen. I kind of screwed this up because I had friends over to eat dinner with and I didn't dare to film. So what I did, I made a picture of the result of the food, but it looks disgusting. But it is supposed to look this disgusting. Really, I promise that it really is the case. So I looked up how the ingredients were called. What you do is you bake the meat, you bake the onions with some butter, and you put in some of the herbs, and you put in a little bit of the fluid that you like, the vinegar and water fluid with all the herbs in there. And then you add apple syrup, which I don't know if you know what it is. It isn't really syrup, so I was surprised it was translated to that because it's more dense and more, how do you say that, sticky and less fluid, more solid than syrup. And the other thing you add is gingerbread. But gingerbread you add the very end. So first you let it cook for like 1.5 to 2 hours until the meat completely falls apart. That's the most important thing. And then you add gingerbread until it has the right structure. And I will show you with what is left, which is almost nothing, what the right structure is. And then I hope you can make it yourself. I realize this is the most Dutch recipe I could have given you. It looks very awful and it might sound very awful, but it is delicious. I promise you, it is really, really nice. Try it out. Now I'll show you what the right texture is. So this is it. Let me show you. Now it's not warm, it's not the right texture, but you can see how much of meat this is and how little fluid. So when it's warm, it's a little bit more fluid, but it cooked dry because of the gingerbread quite a lot. So that was actually it. I really hope you liked this recipe. Let me know if you're going to try to make this, or if you at least thought this to be fun, and if you want to have more recipes someday. I hope you'll have a lovely day filled with books, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye! I was surprised by how untasty it looks when I show you this, but it really is really tasty and really nice. I hope you will try it out. You can find out all the ingredients though, because even that's complicated.